Hello, for this module we're going to be going through a walk cycle. So right now if you look online and you just look up free character rigs, you'll find that there are a lot of character rigs you can download and try out for free. So I encourage you to play around and explore with different rigs to see how different rigs work, different characters interact, and the different types of things that are possible for animation. Anyways, for right now, I'm going to take you through the process of taking this character and doing a walk cycle with them. Now, this is not an overly complex rig. There's nothing on the face. In fact, this is one of those things that I got a long time ago and don't even remember where I originally got this from. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of rigs and characters floating around on the internet. So you can find a few different ones to try out, but this one I like because it's simple. First thing you want to do whenever playing around with a new rig is just to start exploring what it's got, what it does. So I'm going to open up the attribute editor. And if you notice, unlike the robot that we made, this one has this control shape that allows us to do different things. So this moves the body up and down. If I grab the hand, I don't want to grab the IK handle. I want to grab this handle, this control shape. And this control shape controls the hand. Also allows me to move the arm around, so it controls that IK handle. Can grab this right here, move that back and forth. There's a lot of different things I can play with. For the foot, same thing. It's not about grabbing the IK handle, it's about grabbing that the control shape, moving that around, and then I can do things like this. And if I open up the extra attributes, actually under the foot control, extra attributes, I can actually create a foot roll, which allows me some additional animation controls. And let me step back again. Grab this. All right. So there's a lot of things I can do with this, but it's still a fairly simple rig. So this is the one I'm going to use to kind of show you a basic approach to creating walk cycle. Now there are a lot of different ways to approach animation. You can do things like going into specific key poses, which are like the big grand poses, and setting those up and then trying to make adjustments in between the major key poses. Or in the case of something like a walk cycle, I like to do more of an additive approach where I work on one section at a time and build it up. And so that's where I'm going to start with you now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this down just a little bit, just so that there's some flexibility of movement in here as I move the legs back and forth. And I'm going to start simply by offsetting the legs a little bit. So if I bring this forward to right here, this isn't going to be large steps. So maybe to there. So I'm going 3 back and 3 forward. I'll grab both of these controls, and on one I will hit S. I'm going to make this a 48 frame animation, so I'll make sure that's at 48. On 24, I will just have these reversed. Once again, make sure it's the same spot, there and there. Grab both of those, hit S, go back to 1 and copy. And by having both of them selected, it's grabbing the keys for both of them and then paste in. And so now, if nothing else, I have the feet sliding back and forth, giving me this illusion that there's some movement. Now, you don't want to leave it at this point, obviously. If your feet are just sliding back and forth, that doesn't really work. There's more motion that comes in. Before I move on with that motion, though, let me move on to the next section. Let me get these arms down into place. So I'll grab this, bring it down, rotate this out. So the hand's about right here. Now, let me go back to the first frame. If the right leg's forward, the left arm is usually forward, so they will alternate. And so in this way, bring this down just a little bit. S key there. Come over here, move that back. I want that hand to swing a little bit. S key again. I'm gonna copy and then paste. And you can see this isn't great, but it's getting me the base movements at this point. Grab this hand over here, do the same thing. So I'll bring that in, rotate it down and in. And because the on 1, the left leg is back, so's the right arm. So S, go to 24. And you can see that back, or the left hand had a little bit more swing to it. But these don't have to be absolutely exact. In fact, if they are, then it feels too robotic, so I want a little bit of variation in there. But this is at least letting me set up these base animations. So paste that in. So right now I'll hit play. And I've got this basic slide. With that set up, I can actually start setting up a little bit more of the animations. So, for example, if I come here, when the foot lifts off, I don't want it to immediately lift off the ground or start sliding back. In fact, I'm going to give this a partial roll at this point, as if it's just before that point of lifting off the ground. So if I go to the foot control, extra attributes, I'm going to have it right here. Let's do that at 4. Come over here, grab it again while it's in that position, hit the S key. I'm going to copy, and I'm not going to paste it to the end just yet. Let me get it about right here, hit the S key, and then I'll paste that in. That way there's that foot rolls, it comes up. So it comes up to there, and then from here it's going to lift off the ground. And so maybe right about here, I'm actually going to, here, let me step back. I'm actually going to have this lifted off. Get that lifting right about here. And right before it touches down, I actually want it, so let me go from that point to right about here. I want it to be a little bit of a clump before it hits. So I'm going to actually foot roll it the other way. So up, and then clumping down. And right here, I don't want it to tap just yet. So I'm going to make a couple of little changes. So instead of tapping down right there, I'm actually going to give it a little bit of that foot roll up. And then a couple frames after, then bring that to 0. And bring that to 0 here. Then hit the S key. And so now it lifts up. It goes into that transition up, down, smacking down after. And then it starts lifting up. So as we go through this walk cycle now, it's a little jittery. And so I need to play with the curves a little bit, but you get the idea. That's starting to set up this animation cycle. And so that's got a little bit too fast of a pop. So from here, popping up fast. And so I may not want quite that much roll, so maybe I'll drop that to like a 2. Once again, hit that, hit S so it'll save. Make this one a 2. Grab that, hit S to save. And it's still got a little bit of a pop, but you can see that it's starting to get a little bit more of that animation going. Let me do the same with the other side. But this time I'll be going in a little bit of a reverse order. So I know that I want this to still be up just a little bit, where I don't want it completely touching down yet. So S, and that's negative, let's just do it at a -2 for right now, just to make my life easy. And that way over here, I can make sure that that's set up as a -2. Hit the S key. And then here, have it touch down to 0. So that's hitting there. And so as I'm getting to about right here, I'm going to hit the S key. And by 24, I want that foot roll to be happening up. So I'll do that around 2 as well. So there's that foot roll up. It's going to, at that point, be lifting up. The S key. And from there, I need to roll it in that opposite direction a little bit more. I want to move this up a little higher. So like I said, I want just a little bit of a clump. And you can see I've got some jittering, but I'm getting those basic forms in. So I'm going to stop this video for here. And then in the next video, we'll come back. We'll work on some more of the animation to set up this walk cycle, look at ways to smooth it, and continue from there.